Vaktram nate vitilakam malinam viharsham Samramba bhimam avimrishta apeta ragam Pasye stanavapi suchopahatau sujatau Bimbhadaram vigata kumkumam pankaragam Vaktram, face, na, never, te, yo, vitilakam, without being decorated, malinam, unclean, viharsham, morose, samramba, with anger, bhimam, dangerous, avimrishtam, without luster, apeta ragam, without affection, pasye, I have seen, stanau, your breast, api, also, sucha, upahatau, wet because of your tears, sujhatau, so nice. Bimbadharam, red lips, vigata, without, kumkuma, panka, saffron, ragam, color. My dear wife, until this day I have never seen your face without tilaka decoration, nor I have seen you so morose without luster or affection. Nor I have seen your two nice breasts wet with tears from your eyes, nor I have ever before seen your lips, which are ordinarily as red as the bimba fruit, without their reddish hue. Please respond, my dear wife, until this day I have never seen your face without tilaka decoration, nor I have seen you so morose, without luster or affection. Nor I have seen your two nice breasts wet with tears from your eyes. Nor I have ever seen your lips, which are ordinarily as red as the bimba fruit, without their reddish hue. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Every woman looks very beautiful when decorated with tilak and vermilion. A woman generally becomes very attractive when her lips are colored with reddish saffron or vermilion. But when one's consciousness and intelligence are without any brilliant thoughts about Krishna, they become morose and lusterless. So much so that one cannot derive any benefit despite sharp intelligence. Tanme prasidha suhurda krita kil bishais swairam gata simrgayam yasat sanat turashyam kadevaram vasagatam kusumastra vaiga virastra pumsanam ushyati na bhajate krityam. My dear Queen, due to my sinful desires, I went to the forest to hunt without asking you. Therefore, I must admit that I have offended you. Nonetheless, thinking of me as your most intimate subordinate, you should still be very much pleased with me. Factually, I am very much bereft. By being pierced by the arrow of Cupid, I am feeling lusty. But where is the beautiful woman who would give up a lusty husband and refuse to unite with him? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Both man and woman desire one another. That is the basic principle of material existence. Women in general always keep themselves beautiful so that they can be attractive to their lusty husbands. When a lusty husband comes before his wife, the wife takes advantage of his aggressive tactics, activities, and enjoys life. Generally, when a woman is attacked by a man, whether her husband or some other man, she enjoys the attack being too lusty. In other words, when one's intelligence is properly utilized, both the intellect and the intelligent person enjoy one another with great satisfaction, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45. Yan maitunadi grahamedi shukam haitucham kandunena karayoreva dukkha dukkam. The actual happiness of the karmis is sex life. They work very hard outside the home, and to satiate their heart labor, they come home to enjoy sex life. King Puranjan went to the forest to hunt, and after his hard labor, he returned home to enjoy sex life. If a man lives outside the home and spends a week in a city or somewhere else, at the end of the week he becomes very anxious to return home and enjoy sex with his wife. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam Yan Maitunadi Grahameti Sukhametu Cham. Karmis work very hard simply to enjoy sex. Modern human society has improved the materialistic way of life simply by inducing unrestricted sex life in many different ways. This is the most prominently visible in the Western world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 4th canto, 26th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Puranjan goes to the forest to hunt and his queen becomes angry. Omagyanatimirandasya gyananam gyana shilakaya chakshvadan militam yana tasmai Shri Guruve namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhistam satpitam yana bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamam Vidati Swaparandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Shadvitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvidam Nishyam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namaram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are covering 2 verses to finish up this chapter. So we will start with the next chapter on the next class. So here in this verse you can see how the women and the man are captivated by lust. Lust is the underlying principle that keeps the conditioned soul entrapped in this material world. So much so they have to go through many births just on this one point. So this principle of getting attracted is arranged by the Lord also. Because the conditioned soul have taken birth in this material world on this point of trying to enjoy. Because we want to enjoy, we are therefore put in this material world. And so to make us enjoy, So there is this material Maya which is created by God for mutual attraction. So that is explained here in this verse. And this verse, Nirabhidyayate Shisnuvai Prajananda Mrta Artinaha Upasta Asit Kamanam Priyam Tat Ubhayasvayam. So in this verse, thereafter when he desire to evacuate the refuse of eatables, the evacuating whole anus and the sensory organ therefore thereof develop along with the controlling deity Mitra. The sensory organ and the evacuated substance are both under the shelter of the controlling deity. Purport. The heavenly pleasure for the conditioned soul is sex pleasure. And this sex pleasure is tasted by the genitals. The woman is the object of sexual pleasure, and both the sense perception of sexual pleasure and the woman are controlled by the Prajapati, who is under the control of the Lord's genitals. The impersonalists must know from this verse that the Lord is not impersonal, for he has his genitals, of which all the pleasurable objects of sex depend. No one would have taken the trouble to maintain children if there is no taste of heavenly nectar by means of sexual intercourse. This material world is created to give the conditioned soul the chance for regeneration, for going back home, back to Garden. And therefore, generations of the living being is necessary for the upkeep for the purpose of creation. Sexual pleasure is an impetus for such action, and as such one can even serve the Lord in the act of such sex pleasure. The service is counted when the children born of such sexual pleasures are properly trained in God consciousness. The whole idea of material creation is to revive the dormant God consciousness of the living entity in the forms of life other than the human form. Sexual pleasure is prominent without any motive of service for the mission of the Lord. But in the human form of life, the conditioned soul can render service to the Lord by creating progeny suitable for attainment of salvation. One can beget hundreds of children and enjoy celestial pleasure of sexual intercourse, provided he is able to train the children in God consciousness. Otherwise, begetting children is on the level of the swine, rather the swine is more expert than the human being, because the swine can beget a dozen piglets at a time, whereas the human being can give birth to only one at a time. So one should always remember that the genitals, the sexual pleasure, the woman and the offspring of all are related in the service of the Lord. One who forgets this relationship in the service of the Supreme Lord becomes subjected to the threefold miseries of material existence by the laws of nature. Perception of sexual pleasure is there even in the body of the dog, but there is no sense of God consciousness. The human form of life is distinct from that of the dog by the perception of God consciousness. So you see how the Lord has put the pleasure on the genitals so that the attraction for that heavenly pleasure becomes very, I would say, alluring. Not only the human, any species, every species is attracted by the opposite sex. So this is the sum and substance, that little pleasure that the living entity is what? Eyeing for. Understand? And this pleasure is not something that you can easily give up. You understand this? It's not so easy to give up. It's explained here in this verse. And this verse, you can see here, Ya prithvivyam vrihivayam hiranyam pasavastriyaha nadukyanti manaha pritim pumshakama hatasyute. A person who is lusty cannot satisfy his mind even he has enough of everything in this world, including rice, barley and other food grain, gold, animals and women. Nothing can satisfy him. Na jatu kamam kamanam upabhogena samyate havishye Krishna vatmeva bhuya eva abhivardate. As supplying butter to fire does not diminish the fire, but instead increase it more and more. The endeavor to stop lusty desires by continual enjoyment can never be successful. In fact, one must voluntarily cease from material desires. See how this is. As you keep putting butter into the fire, it doesn't stop. It increases more and more and more. Yes? Will the fire die? Unless of course you pour so much of thing inside. But if you keep supplying, then it will never stop. Yes? So you see how lust is so, what we say, contaminating. But you can question about what's wrong. What's wrong with this lust? What's wrong with this sex pleasure? It's very pleasurable. Yeah? Correct? Yes or no? So the end product is that it says here in this verse, Prabhupada quoted in the purport, so you see in this verse, he quoted twice this verse inside the purport. Yan maitunadi grahamedi sukam hek tucham. So this word, maituna grahamedi sukam hek tucham. There's a few words here. Grahamedi means the one who is interested in sex. That's why it's called grahamedi. Maitunadi means sex. Sukam means the happiness they get from there, as described in this verse. Hek tucham is very insignificant. Sex pleasure doesn't last for miles and years, it's just momentary, finish. Yes? For a moment pleasure. Then, kanduyanena karayorhe dukkha dukkam. You see the word there? After that what follows? What follows? What is dukkha dukkam? Happiness. Sukha sukham. What? What it says here? What? Dukkha dukkam. The double dukkha means what? In mathematics you go squared, right? The dukkha squared. Yeah, what is dukkha squared? Yeah, see the word here? Understand? You're not going to be happy. You understand? And see the next line. Tripayanti neha. You cannot be satisfied. You can have it again and again and again. Still you will not be. You cannot be satisfied. And the word Tripayanti neha. Tripayanti neha. You cannot be happy with it. You can keep on doing and doing and doing, you're not going to be happy. Understand? On the contrary, you're going to become a kripana. In other words, you will keep doing this, you will become a miser rather than you develop the godly qualities of a Brahmana. Yesterday we discussed at length, yes? The qualities of the what? Brahmana. Yesterday's topic was what? The Brahmana, correct? Today we are discussing the what? Krapana. What is the Krapana? A miser. Krapana means what? Miser. And Bahu, Dukkha Bhajaha. Wow, Bahu means what? Bahu means what? So much. Many what? Miseries. Understand? Kandutvena manasijam vishihet dhira. The intelligent man will not want to do that. The word is used here, dhira. So dhira means what? He is intelligent. This is why I should do this. Understand? So here the translation, you can see, you can read yourself. Sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grahame, these so-called grahasthas who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness. Although actually it is source of distress. The Krapanas, the fools who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied with repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhira, however, who are sober, who tolerate this itching, are not subject to the sufferings of fools and rascals. Understand this point? If you go in that line, of course you are going to be attached, there is no doubt about that. But you are going to develop a lot of what? The bad qualities. You are not going to become saintly. You are not going to become what? Huh? Is it? What is that? 31 or 30? Dancing in the hands of a yes, here 331, 33, you see here. So these are the qualities that you're going to get. Understand? Satyam, Sauchyam, Daya, Maunam, Buddhi, Sri, Hiri, Yashikchama, Samo, Damo, Bhagascheti, Yatsangat, Yati, Shankshayam. What is that? He becomes devoid. Yesterday, Sama, Dama, Sauchyam, Arjavam, we read, right? And today, you are reading, he becomes devoid of what? Truthfulness. Satyam. He becomes devoid of Sauchyam, cleanliness. He becomes devoid of mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, bhaga, and all such opportunities. That means you become a Krapana, you can get all these bad qualities. You understand? So enjoying repeated sex life is going to deplete your spiritual assets. That you become degraded. You become what? Degraded. I am talking about people who are just cremadies, who want to go loosely enjoy. So not only that, when you get into this, you understand what happens? The heart become knotted. What is that verse? Pumsam Sri Maituna Etat. 5. See how the whole thing works. In this verse is explained. Pumsam, man, Stri means women, Mituna bhavam etan, that means when they have their sexual intercourse. Taho, mito, hridaya granti raho, their heart will become what? What? Hridaya means what? Grantha means what? What? Nectar. What? What is Granthi? Knot. Your heart become, two hearts become knotted. And then what happens? Then you start thinking first graha. You want to get what? A house. Huh? Then you want to get some kshetra, business. Then what do you want to think of? Children. Apta means relatives. And vitaya means what? What? Money. Then, when you go in this line, janasya mohahyam aham mameti, and immediately you get conditioned by thinking, this is mine, that is his, this is his, my and I, this platform comes in. And this my and I platform, spiritually you become, it's a suicide. Spiritually what? It's suicide. It's not very, what? And not only that, it says here, he gets completely entangled. And this is how the brain starts working. How can a person who is most affectionate to his family, the core of his heart being always filled with their pictures, give up their association? Specifically, a wife is always very kind and sympathetic and always pleases the husband in a solitary place. Who could give up the association of such a dear and affectionate wife? Small children talk in broken language, very pleasing to hear, and the affectionate father always thinks of their sweet words. Just see, How could he give up the association? One's elderly parents and one's sons and daughters are also very dear. A daughter especially dear to the father while living at a husband's house is always in his mind. Who could give up that association? Aside from this household affair, there are many decorated items of household furniture, and there are also animals, servants who could give up such comfort. The attached householder is like a silkworm which weaves a cocoon in which it becomes imprisoned, unable to get out, simply for the satisfaction of the two important senses, the genital and the tongue. One is bound by material condition. How can one escape? You understand? This is bonding. Not only that, this is not just going to be ending here. It's not going to be ending here. See, they say this now, Tripanti Neha Bahudukka Bajaha, right? There's so much of what? Headache. Problem after problem. Is it explained? What is that? 7:13. What? And this verse you can see again. Tatrapi dhampatinam cha sukayam sukaya anya panutaye karmani purvantam disva nirvirtosmin viparyayam. In this human form of life, man and woman unite for the sensual pleasure of sex. But actually by actual experience we have observed that none of them are happy. Therefore, seeing the contrary result, I have stopped taking part in materialistic activities. In other words, this always brings about what? Headache. Yeah? See, again the same thing. Sukaya dukkha mokshaye kurvati dampati kriyaha tato nivritti apritti aprapti dukhasya cha sukhasya cha. As husband and wife, a man and woman plan together to attain happiness and decrease unhappiness, working conjointly in many ways, but because their activities are full of desires, these activities are never source of happiness and they never diminish distress. On the contrary, they are a cause of great unhappiness. You understand? Huh? Are you following? See? So do not think that the sex pleasure is going to give you what? Huh? What? In fact, you become completely bewildered. Understand? It's chasing for the little pleasure, how much headache is coming? And not only that, you can see here also, I think it is 11:3:20, I think. Sri Prabhupada said, accepting the roles of male and female in human society, the conditioned soul unite in sexual relationship. Thus they constantly make material endeavors to eliminate their unhappiness and unlimitedly increase their pleasure. But one should see that inevitably achieve exactly the opposite result. In other words, their happiness inevitably vanishes, and as they grow older, their material discomfort increases. So, I don't know, is there a verse that says they will get so much pleasure? Have you read anywhere? Huh? What? What? Charpaka. He says, back borrow still. Get ghee by all means and enjoy life, because tomorrow you die, everything is finished. I don't think this philosophy works, boy. So now you see, you go in this line, for that little pressure, the outcome is what? You understand? Very disastrous. Not only human, animals also the same. Animals also the same. You see here, you just read something about animals, so you will, at least you feel a little bit contented. Not that, you are going to suffer. Animals also, everyone. A saintly person should never touch a young girl. In fact, he should never even let his foot touch a wooden doll in the shape of a woman. By bodily contact with a woman, he will surely be captured by illusion. Just as the elephant is captured by a she-elephant due to his desire to touch her body. A man possessing intelligent discrimination should not under any circumstance try to exploit the beautiful form of woman for his sense gratification. Just as an elephant trying to enjoy a she-elephant is killed by other bull elephants. Also enjoying a company, one trying to enjoy a lady's company can any moment be killed by other lovers who are stronger than he. The animal also the same. You all what? Such the base. Understand? This is the, I mean, we have to study this. So, because there are many other examples here. So now, what is the solution? What is the solution? I should try to get the real pleasure, because this small pleasure I am running day and night. Correct? Let us see another kind of a pleasure. See here, my dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss have taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmanda, to be like water contained in the footprint of a calf. So see, the pleasure of actually contacting the Lord is far, far more than all these small little pleasures. You understand? In other words, my Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmanda. Wherein one thinks himself merged in impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmanda is also defeated by transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to a heavenly planet, which is ended by separating sword of time? Although one may be elevated to a heavenly planet, he falls down in due course of time. So even the heavenly pleasure, don't speak of the material pleasure, the heavenly pleasure is nothing compared to the taste of surrendering to your lotus feet. Understand? So this is actually if Brahmanda, the bliss of merging in the Brahman effulgence were multiplied 100 trillion times, it would still not equal even an atomic fragment of the ocean of transcendental bliss felt in devotional service. In other words, the pleasure of getting into Krishna's service is far, far, far more than the pleasure in getting from material contact. What is that word? Prahlad says, Deha yogina dehinam. 763, huh? 763. Sukham Aindriyakam daitya deha yogina dehinam sarvatra labate daiva yata dukham ayatanaha. This is the meaning of this verse. Prahlad Maharaj, my dear friend, born of demonic family, the happiness perceived with the reference to sense object by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life according to one's past fruitive activity. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just as we obtain distress. So I will explain that this pleasure is very, very, very what? Insignificant. Hai sukham, hai tucham. Very. So we should try to get this other pleasure, the lotus feet of the how to get that? That's the question now. How to? How to get that? Higher pleasure. This is how we can only get it. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired from Narada Muni, my lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also easily attain liberation according to the instruction of the Vedas. So how do we go get this thing? So here it is explained, because we can read the purport, very nice. Narada Muni replied, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the result of their work themselves, they should offer the result to Krishna Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. The only way that the householder can come out of this mess is association of again he says, a grihastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnation, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from the affection of his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from dream. So the solution is this. What is the solution? Association. Understand? Association. So this is very important. You want to get that temporary pleasure? Oh yes. But the result is what? Unlimited suffering. And you also develop all the bad qualities. You should see how it is going. Listen, I am not giving you a class to discourage you householders. Please. I am speaking what? How to come out. Understand? So, if you take this path, it is not worth it. But if you take this other path of trying to get the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, by getting the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, everything is millions and billions, just now we read, trillions of times multiplied, correct? That pleasure. Yes. In fact, if you get that pleasure, then this, what is that verse? Kama adinam kati katita palita durnidesa. What is it? Matya 22? 16. See here, this is Rupa Goswami. Kamadinam katina katita palita durnidesha tesham jatamayena karuna na trapta na upashanti utsrijantam. This word is very important. Utsrijantam. I am giving it up. Yata yadupate samprattam labda buddhis. I got back my brains. Labda buddhi. What does that mean? Labda means what? Gain. Buddhi means what? I got back my how this works? Tvam ayataha sharanam bhayam mam nikunja seva atma dashe. A very, very important verse. Oh my Lord, There's no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown me any mercy. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor I have even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I have now refused to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. This is the solution. What is the solution? We have to learn how to come to this. How to come to this? Because we have to associate with the devotees. So when I associate devotees, then this thing will be awakened. This is the greatest thing in this Kali Yuga. We know the Kali Yuga is an ocean of what? Kali Yuga is an ocean of what? Fog. Correct? Ocean of fog. That's like, we know the verse. What is that verse? Kalo nidya raja dosha nayasti mahan guna. Correct? Ocean of fog. Here, aho mahantam bahudosha dusto api ekena bhatyesha bhavato gunena satsangama makkena sukhavahena kritadya no pena krishya mumukshuha. O great learned devotee, although there are many faults in this material world, there is one good opportunity. There's one good opportunity, the association with devotees. Such association brings about great happiness. Due to this good quality, our strong desire to achieve liberation by merging into Brahman effulgence has become weakened. You understand this point? Yeah. This is the solution. This is the only good thing left here. Association. Solution is there. No. I've given you the example. I've explained this thing. I've what? Explained, correct? What happens if you go this way? Definitely you're going to get into trouble. Correct? No doubt about it. There's no way you're going to get any happiness. And the solution is that you have to get the supreme pleasure. To get that, you must go to the devotees. And then when you associate devotees, then everything becomes purified. This is the solution. It's not that you go and wait in the Toto booth, and try to get a jackpot money. Because that's another way of thinking. They're thinking, no, to solve this problem, I only need money. The householders are like this, money. Wake up only, have to find money. Yes? What is that verse? Is it? 22:33, is it? For human society, constantly thinking how to earn money and apply it for sense gratification brings about the destruction of everyone's interest. Prabhu, this is Shastra, you cannot change these things. You can try. No. There's no I. This is going to be, you understand? When one becomes devoid of knowledge and devotional service, he enters a species of life like those of trees and stones. It's not going to work. So you think carefully. So our whole idea is to take shelter of Krishna directly. This thing is explained by Prahlad Maharaj. Directly. Don't do them indirect. Indirect thing is, I'll show you. Here, in this verse. Okay, in this verse, I'm sure you know this word, right? Pralada vacha shravanam kirtanam vishnu smaranam padasevanam achanam vandanam dakshyam sakyam atma nivedanam. Right? I'm sure you know, right? You know this, right? You don't know? Huh? You know? Don't know? You know, right? So here, this one is very important. Ete pungsharpita Vishnu bhakti chen navalakshanam kriyate bhagavati adaha. This line, huh? This line. Kriyate bhagavati adaha. You know, what does this mean? Huh? We'll go to the translation. One should perform, kriyate means one should perform. See? This here. Kriyate means one should perform, Bhagavati means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adaha means directly or completely. You understand? Not that you try this indirect, they do no. You do direct. That is the ideal. And if you got that opportunity of direct, why you should do indirect? Huh? Intelligent. Is it intelligent? Huh? That's why he says here. See, you do direct. Huh? The 9 processes are accepted pure devotion. One should who has dedicated life to the service of Krishna. To this 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining, one should do it direct, Adaha. And that explanation, Prabhupada is saying, one should do this devotional service in that manner. And you see, very quickly he will get the benefit. And he will get, by immediately getting into this, he will get so much realization, and then he gets saved. Because once a person engaged in Krishna's service, I don't know, I have to go through so much there. We should learn how to understand this, that our attachment to Krishna should increase more and more. And when that attachment increases, then our material problems will diminish. There is no two way about it. You cannot change this. This is the sum and substance of this material world. And if you don't want, then yes, sex pleasure will be there. And when you get attracted to that, that's it. You understand? Then the story goes on. But to come out of it, then this is the only way. You follow? This is the solution. Somehow or other get associated with the world and do direct service to Krishna and go home back to the spiritual world. Finish. But we want to take the roundabout. Hopefully, because you got to wait. You got children, this, that, you're going to take how many years, correct? Yes? Cannot come out so easily. It's not possible. That's why Prahlad, his father asked him, what you learned in school? What did you learn in school? You know what he said to his father? His father asked him, Prahlad, come sit down. What's the best thing you learned? Can you imagine he's a 5-year-old boy? Yeah? He said this. This is what he told his father. Prahlada vacha tat sadhu manye asuravadya dehinam sada samudvekna deyam asatkraha hitva atma patangraham andapupam vannam gato dharin ashriyita. This is what he spoke to the father, 5-year-old boy. Prahlad said, "Oh best of the asuras, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who accepted a temporal body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety, because of having fallen in the dark well, where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest, Vanna, More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. Wow, the father took him and threw him out of it. He was sitting and throw him because the father was a sun gratifier. He hated this thing. He hated it to hear from this little boy. What you learning from school? Huh? What kind of subject is this? That's it. This is the bottom line. So we should learn that yes, I am not going to have a rosy life, that's understood. My solution is to become so much Krishna conscious, that is the only solution. And spend more time in this, then yes, saving this. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. Because it's also said here, I'm sure you know this verse. I think it's 30, is it? For one who's drowning in this ocean up and down. 28. Give me a minute. What is that? 32? The boat going up and down. Yeah, that's the one. The devotees of the Lord, peacefully fixed in absolute knowledge, are the ultimate shelter for those who are repeatedly rising and falling within the fearful ocean of material life. Such devotees are just like strong boats that come to rescue persons who are at the point of drowning. So this is the only solution. There is no other solution. That's why Prabhupada wanted us to open temples. The main idea of trying to open this temple is to give shelter to all the devotees. You understand? And yes, you become successful. Alright, I think it's getting time here. Anybody have questions? Any questions? No questions? Okay, then we will stop here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki